Does this team, in your opinion, have enough dogs?
Chris Richards is going to be a big part, I think. He's got to be the backbone of how we start games. You know, you go to battle with Weston. He's someone you can trust anytime on the field. Diego Luna, he doesn't shy away from anything. If you're going into a game and you need a little bit of bite, I think we have some.
Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, presented by Volkswagen. Volkswagen has long been a supporter of soccer in America and has proudly been a partner of U.S. Soccer for over 5 years.
Welcome into Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, presented by Volkswagen. LD, big last week. We both had birthdays.
Last week.
Happy birthday.
Yes, sir. 26 years old last week,
you,
baby.
Not you. I'm 47. What did you do for your birthday? I know. Tell the people.
My wife set up a little trip to Vegas for the night. We had dinner, gambled, and then it was like 11:30, and we're like, should we keep gambling? Should we go out? And we went to bed.
You went to bed. That sounds about right for a 26-year-old.
We went to bed. What about you?
I went down to Knoxville to visit my daughter. I went to an Eric Church concert. Belted out Springsteen with the other 22,000 people. It was good. It was like the fourth time I've seen Eric Church. He's brilliant. And the next day I drove to have brunch with my son in Chattanooga. I bought brunch. I thought maybe he would pick up the check, but he didn't.
No chance.
It was amazing. Seeing both
Chattanooga's nice, by the way.
Chat's
I like that
cool,
city.
Man.
On the river right there.
Yeah.
It's really pretty.
He loves it.
That's where Volkswagen is. And the old CEO, I went and spent like a day with him there. It's really cool.
Yeah,
it's a sweet place.
Good spot.
Okay, guys, follow us on social media at Unfiltered Soccer. Subscribe to the show on YouTube. Make sure you follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. And if you like what we're doing, leave a review. If you don't, tell Tim he's terrible on social media. And you can email Jordan, feedback at Unfiltered Soccer. All right, let's jump right into USMNT on USLNT. So we got some good news, bad news stuff going on. I feel like it's kind of like that every week. Good news, Ricardo Pepi back, scored the winning goal for PSV. He's scored 8 in his last 9 appearances, including 2 of 3 from 2 in 3 since returning from his injury. The bad news in that game is that Sergiño Dest was forced off early with an upper leg injury. They think thigh, hamstring. It looked like his hamstring. He has said, I'm out for a little while to do what I love the most, but one thing for sure is it's not the end of the season. Good. So I don't know where that leaves us, probably at least a month, maybe 2 months. So thoughts on Pepi and then Dest?
Well, I mean, I think Pepi, it's great. He's hit the ground running again. We're scoring on the backside of that injury now, scoring, after getting back from it. So, look, as long as our strikers are scoring, I think it's brilliant. Sort of disappointed for him that Fulham move didn't materialize because I would have loved to see Pepi in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Because I think he's got an interesting profile physically and one that I think he could succeed there. But anyway, whatever. He's scoring goals and that's important. Sergiño Dest, it's a tough one because he's gonna, again, I think he'll miss the March friendlies.
He's definitely missing the March friendlies.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, he played twice in November, twice in September, missed the October games for whatever reason. And then prior to that, he was dealing with what I believe was the ACL injury, right? And so,
right, exactly.
Sort of been in and out of the national team and not terribly consistent in terms of appearances. So, it's a blow. I mean, we constantly say we want the team to be together. We want the best team to be together. Yeah. And if he's the best right fullback, wing back in the squad, or potentially the best, then we want to see that, and the manager wants to see it. I'm guessing, but again, hopefully, by his words, it's not the end of the season, and that would be a great thing.
This has fortunately become a position of depth for us, immense depth between Way has been playing there. Alex Freeman, let's talk about him in a sec. Dest, Joe Scally can play there, and also Weston McKennie can play there if you need him to, right? So it's a position of depth, but it takes away optionality for Mauricio Pochettino. Let's touch on Alex Freeman.
Okay, but it takes away optionality, but also I'm saying I think he's our best right fullback.
You do?
That's the consensus.
Yeah.
And if he is, then certainly you want him being able to compete, because I think even if you have optionality, even if you have guys you think, oh, they can play that position and play it well, you still want your best out there. But
Yeah,
okay.
that's true.
Yeah.
And then you want guys coming off the bench who can impact the game,
Right.
right? So if that means then Alex Freeman's off the bench, or Weah's off the bench, or Weah plays somewhere else, that helps a lot too. Yeah, I agree with that. So the Alex Freeman stuff. So I play hockey every week, and our goalkeeper, this guy Jacob, is a massive Villarreal fan, which I'm like, how the hell do you become a Villarreal fan? I'm like, I think you're one of one in America, dude.
Yeah.
But every week I go in, we talk about Alex Freeman, and he's like, when is he going to play? When is it? So I went and looked. Since that November friendly, the last friendly, you know how many total minutes of competitive soccer he's played? So that's in 5 months now. 34. And so I know I talked about this at the time. I always say the grass isn't always greener, And I do think, I have to say, long-term, this is the right move. I said at the time, I love the move. I hate the timing. And so I hope, Tim, I really genuinely hope I'm wrong on this. And I hope in a month, this is water under the bridge and he's playing and everything. But if this continues through the summer, he's now put himself at risk. I think he'll be on the roster, but of not playing, right? And I think he's a good player, man, and he's impactful. And so I just really struggle with this. I did at the time. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he finds his way in, but it's not trending well right now. He didn't get off the bench this weekend. In the last few games, he hasn't. So it's not trending.
Here's what I would say. You saying your hope. There's no hope. I mean, there's a reason why he's not playing. There's for whatever the coach thinks he needs time or what have you. He's not playing, and that's real. 30 plus minutes is just not a lot of football at all. And I guess because you and I were sort of texting about this the other day, and I still was like, look, you said what you said, and you stand firm on that, and you're right. But I also believe that he needed to go, timing or not, and I still sort of sucks he's not playing, because that's going to affect his sort of standing within the squad. I mean, yes, he'll be in the squad, but whether he plays or not, where he might have otherwise solidified himself a role in the starting lineup with the national team if he was playing every week, right? Here's why I still say yes, the move is right. When the first move is scary. So the first move out of MLS, you don't whether you and I can sit back and say, like, conventional wisdom would tell you, kid, hey, keep playing for your MLS club, go to the World Cup, it will happen, right? That's easy for us to say. And maybe we have the knowledge that we're right. But when you're in that moment, that move is harder. That move to turn down is harder. Now, if you had a move or success at a club and you're in Europe or whatever, and now you're trying to make the next big leap, you might actually go, you know what? My pockets are a bit more padded. I'm playing well. Even though, let's say, a Premier League club wants me, I'm in Spain playing well. Let me wait till the summer to make that move. I think you have a little bit more stock. That's all I'm saying. So the first move, I think you still have to take it. I know I may be in the minority, but I still think you got to take it, bearing in mind this might happen, and this has happened.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's look again. Let's hope I'm wrong. Let's hope you're right, and we'll follow along. Okay, I want to dip into this dual national discussion, because this has come up with Noahkai Banks, a kid I'm very high on. He had an article recently, did an interview with Sky Sports Germany, and he quoted as saying, they were asking him, should he play for the U.S. or should he play for Germany? Because he's a dual national. And he said, it's a difficult decision regarding my nationality. I'm very torn. I'm in contact with both the USA and Germany and both national coaches. I hopefully have a long career ahead of me, so I want to think carefully and speak with my family. I don't want to make it dependent on a World Cup run. I'm just happy to be in this position and to be able to make the decision. We'll see what happens. So all fair comments. We're having Brian McBride on in a bit, who is really well-versed in this because he was the GM for the national team, and he has lots of insight into that. Noahkai was born in Hawaii, and then he moved to Germany. He's been called into the youth national teams. He was called into the U.S. full team in September. He didn't play in the friendlies, but he was there. Again, he grew up in Germany, and he joined Augsburg Academy at age 8. and now he's playing for their first team, which is phenomenal. So just give me your overall thoughts on this. And I have a lot of thoughts on it too.
Well, I think it's a big decision.
It's a huge decision.
And I think, the things he's saying are all right, all correct. Because I think because of how big this decision is, you have to weigh all these factors. In my experience, and during the Jurgen Klinsmann era in U.S. men's national team history, that was a time when and we've had dual nationals before, but that was a time where he basically said, right, I'm going to unearth every single possible dual national that I can think of. Mexican American, German Americans. I'm trying to think who else. That was the bulk of the dual nationals.
The Scandinavian kid.
Oh yes,
I don't remember his name now.
Oh yeah. Okay, but the bulk of them were German American or Mexican American, and we had mixed results. Right, we had some players who were uber successful in our national team. Right, and then we had others who, for me, there was this sort of sense of, because with respect to all of the people who run U.S. Soccer and support U.S. Soccer, and two of those supporters are you and I, oftentimes when players have to decide between the U.S. or the other country, you actually see them going, I ain't good enough to play for the other country.
Yeah, that's right.
I ain't good enough. I might could get a sniff. I could go into one or two camps, but I ain't good enough to play for the other country. So by default, I actually want to go to a World Cup, and I want to get 100 caps, and I can do that with the U.S. team because they're not as good as my home country. That's just a matter of fact. So, what are the reasons behind certain players choosing the U.S.? The other part of it, I would say, LD, is when that happens, and maybe this was a byproduct of there being too many multinationals in the team at one time. It almost became aloof, like training camps. And I don't remember how much of that you remember. Some of the training camps sort of like there was no pizzazz within the team, right? Just by like indirectly, you have players who English is their second language, right? So it's harder for them to sort of interact and banter, which is what you do on the inside of the group. So you then like cliques sort of form because that's where they feel most comfortable, right? And when you look at sort of our best U.S. teams, it's always been family and togetherness and this culture of banter and so forth. And we missed out on that. And again, that's not the fault of any of these players. That's human nature, how people interact or don't. So it causes its own problems when someone doesn't just jump at the opportunity to play for the U.S. when they're like, I'm all in. When there's a decision to be made, there's a balance.
Yeah, my struggle is, look, I'm a dual national. My dad was born in Canada, so it literally never once occurred to me to even contemplate paying for Canada because I feel American. I am American. I can understand some of these kids. I mean, Noahkai Banks is an interesting one because he was born in America,
right? But
he grew up in Germany.
Sure.
So my guess is, and I'm just guessing, that he feels more connected to Germany.
Sure.
Right? Like that's, if you grow up in a place, of course you are. Yep. So this is really challenging. And the problem I have with all of this stuff is, well, there's a few. I mean, in the past, and I know from U.S. Soccer now, speaking to some people, this does not happen anymore, and it should never. People were promised places on the World Cup team if they joined, right? And so that no longer happens, which is a good thing. The challenge I have is if you have to recruit someone and convince them to play for your national team, that's a problem. Like Tim, I swear on my life, I would have cut off my hand to play for our national team. And most people would. So I understand. I have compassion for the situation Noahkai's in, but really you need to dig deep and say, okay, who do I really want to play for? And the challenge for him is, to your point, like maybe he can't play. Maybe he won't play for Germany.
Sure.
Maybe he's not good enough. We don't know. He's 18. We'll see. But
I mean, anecdotally though, it's and again, U.S. soccer fans aren't going to want to hear this because look, all I cared about was wearing the U.S. shirt, as you did, right? But the fact of the matter is, having lived abroad for as many years as I did, if the pull to wear some of these national team shirts is legendary.
I know.
Like so if you're a German international or you're an English international and you're like the US wants me, bang, I'm nailed on. I can play every game for the next 100 games. But Germany want me and I'm sort of on the fringes. That's still the thought of playing for, if you're German, the thought of wearing that
it's enticing.
shirt,
Yeah.
Even if it's a remote chance, you're like, oh my God, because we love soccer in America, and but like Germany stops, the whole country stops when the German national team plays. England stops when the English national team plays at Wembley. Like there's a difference there, and it becomes a harder decision for some of these kids.
No, look, before everyone calls me a xenophobe and I want to preface this by saying this is not xenophobic.
Anyway.
I know they will anyway. First of all, I'm curious what you guys all think out there, what your thoughts and opinions are on this, because maybe there's things we haven't thought about.
Sure.
Second of all, the easiest way for FIFA to cut this all out is just say, where you were born is the country you will play for.
Correct.
And then it's just, maybe it's fair, maybe it's not fair. Noahkai Banks grew up in Germany. You might get born in a country because, the woman is, a couple weeks early or whatever, and that sucks. But like that would just cut out all of this, so it makes it really clean. But we'll see. Okay, let's move on to MLS.
Yep.
DC United. This was the big storyline from the weekend. Moved their game against Inter Miami to Baltimore's M&T Bank Stadium. Not only did they move it out of their city, they moved it out of the state, out of their district, into a different state. Miami won 2-1. Messi scored. There were 72,000 fans.
Yep.
A lot of people get upset about this, about moving your game out of your stadium. What's your take on that?
I don't care.
Don't care. I don't either.
Listen, anything that has to do with Messi, I don't care. Whatever he does is right. I don't know. I mean, like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Like DC, it's a district, it's close by. Don't the Commanders play? I don't know. They play way outside the city limits and are trying to build a stadium in. I don't know, DC, whatever. But like, you're gonna move if it's an Inter Miami game, you have to move it to like the nearest big massive stadium because you want to get 70,000. So like, take your home stadium, right, that you play in, and draw the closest line to a 70,000 seat stadium. That's where you play.
That's where you play.
Am I wrong? Like that's where if that happens to be in your city and a mile away, you do it. If it happens to be outside the city limits, you do that too. Like I don't know. You feel
it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no. We used to play like these friendly games in the Rose Bowl or the Coliseum, whatever. And the reason they'd give us like an extra $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever is because they were selling all these tickets and it would help them. So I'm like, who cares?
Totally.
Whatever. All right. I mean, curious how you guys feel, but we're pretty strong on this one. Like, get over it.
Yep.
Other notable result, NYCFC went to 3-0 on the season. They smashed Orlando. Who lost 5-0. Orlando in a tough spot. Lost 3 of 3. By the way, Tim, 4 teams winless in the league, all in the East still.
The West is strong, bro.
The West is strong. The East is not good.
Yeah.
Their move for Antoine Griezmann, Orlando's, is off for now at least. So we'll see what happens.
That feels like they'll be back in form.
Yeah, could do.
I wonder. I sort of wonder why that deal broke down. But anyway, that's an interesting one. They could have used him.
They could have used him. They're in bad shape right now. The other one, our guy Michael Bradley. This is MLS at its finest.
At its finest.
So they win their first 2 games. Everyone, they're playing all these youngsters, Julian Hall, whatever. They play Miami or they play Montreal at home, and everyone's going, "Wow, New York's going to go to 3-0." Final score: Montreal 3, Red Bull 0. This is just MLS all over. I didn't watch the game. I saw the result, and I'm like, "What?"
I was surprised. I was surprised
possible.
by it. But
insane.
I also the interesting part and sort of as pay closer attention to Red Bull under Michael Bradley is like he's playing kids, and we're gonna
this is gonna happen
when they play really well. We're gonna get super excited, but also there's a learning curve with kids.
They're gonna have bad games.
We have to appreciate that's part of it too, and that's not, by the way, the kid's fault. I'm just saying like this is all part of it, and to be losing 3-0 hurts, but like. To be 2-1 at this point and playing,
he would have taken that.
Well, yeah, of course,
he would have taken that. All right, early returns in the West: Vancouver, San Diego, LAFC, all 3 wins from 3 games, as we probably expected. Also, San Jose, and I have to eat a little crow so far. Timo Werner was really good in the game. Had a couple assists. We'll see what happens. I still hold to he will not be the same that we saw years back, but for now, I'm eating a bit of crow, and we'll see.
Okay.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, look, the West is strong. I mean, no surprise. I mean, I think if you watched Vancouver last year, even though they fell just short in the final, you're looking at that team going, it's a really good team. Like, it's a really well coached team, really well balanced. Yep. Got their DPs right, got their young players right. So like that's not surprising. I sort of think San Diego's the same. San Diego had a good vibe.
Told you, they're going to be better.
No, I know.
Better without Chucky.
Right, and then there was sort of like that trimming of the fat. Like, what didn't work? Let's get rid of that. San Diego's also very, very talented.
Yeah. Vancouver, importantly, held on to Tristan Blackman. And Sebastian Berhalter was rumored to be moving, or what's going to happen. So for now, they're both there, and that's helping them. Okay, guys, just a reminder, please hit that subscribe button for lots of bonus content to keep up to date with us as the exciting summer comes around.
It's time for the Unfiltered Refresh, sponsored by Coors Light. Choose chill. Get Coors Light delivered. Go to CoorsLight.com/USLNT. LD, who chose chill this week? Talk to me.
The U.S. Women's National Team, and they just keep winning.
Yeah.
Emma Hayes has shown that she's a winner. This team transitioned when she first came in, and all they've done is won. Alyssa Thompson, who went from Angel City to Chelsea, keeps getting better and better. She was good. We played against her with the Wave, and watching her live, she's a real player. She scored an incredible goal Sunday. They were crowned champions for the 8th time now.
Yeah.
They beat Argentina, Canada, and Colombia, did not concede a goal. For Alyssa Thompson, it's her 5th goal now in 2026 for club and country, and they just keep getting better, man.
Yeah.
And it's exciting to watch ahead of the World Cup next year. You would have to say they're the favorites, Tim. Every time they step on the field now, they're competitive. They care so much about playing for their country. The pride is tangible, and it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm always so impressed. Like, one, it's fun when we have guests on, like Emma Hayes, who's just brilliant, and I still want to. Yeah. So we still need to go to the pub, drink beers, and talk football, because that's just who she is. She's a football fanatic, but a brilliant coach, and you get to sort of cheer for people. You know, they come on the show, you get to know them a little bit, and it's like you become a fan. We've always been a fan of that team, but I'm sort of I've always been in awe of our women's team. And I say this often, like, they continually churn out talent, right? And Alyssa Thompson is a perfect example of that. They play 3 games, keep 3 clean sheets. Like, they're constantly having the pressure of having to win and perform and set the bar higher. Like, by the way, you can't be part of the women's national team program setup and, like, just be as good as the last team. You have to be better. Like, you have to continually, generation by generation, year on year, push the bar higher. You know how difficult that is? Yeah, there's setbacks. Don't get me wrong. There's setbacks and there's hardships. But that's so difficult to do. And every time they go out and they win and they lift another trophy, I'm just in awe. I'm in awe, and it's spectacular to sort of watch as a fan.
And they have to, Tim, because the rest of the world keeps getting better too. So if they just stay the same, which they did, there was a period of time over the last 5-7 years where they kind of stagnated. And now with Emma Hayes, now they get better and better, and they've been fantastic. So Alyssa Thompson, the entire U.S. Women's National Team, cheers to you for choosing chill. All right, let's take a break, Timmy. When we come back, we're talking with our former U.S. teammate. God, I love this guy, Brian McBride. I learned so much from him. We will talk to him right here on Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, presented by Volkswagen. The Unfiltered Soccer podcast is brought to you by Volkswagen. It's really easy to become a passenger in life.
Take control. Live life in the driver's seat. Learn more at VW.com.
Life. If we're not living it, what are we doing here?
Jump around. Jump up and get down.
So,
let's go!
LD, MLS is back.
Yes, it is. And you know what that means? Saturdays are once again all about soccer.
Walmart is making Saturdays of soccer even more glorious with Walmart Saturday Showdown, from early practices to late night watch parties.
Yeah, Walmart and MLS bring every emotion of the beautiful game to Saturdays. Joy, nerves, excitement, and unforgettable golazos.
Walmart plays on Saturdays.
Who knew? Unfiltered Soccer is brought to you by FanDuel. Soccer fans, the beautiful game is reaching new heights of excitement, and FanDuel is matching that excitement with a beautiful offer for new customers. Sign up now and score up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days from soccer bets that don't win. It's like a free kick to try again every day. FanDuel is the best place to bet your favorite players. Build a same-game parlay for a chance at a bigger payout, or try live betting and join the action after the match starts. Visit FanDuel.com to get your first token and get up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days from bets that don't win. Everyone deserves a second shot at greatness with FanDuel. Play your game. Very excited for our next guest. A man I had the pleasure of playing alongside and interacting with quite closely on the field. I was just reading his bio. 95 caps for the national team, 30 goals. If you can score 1 in 3, that's a pretty damn good striker. Appeared in 3 World Cups, was the first American to score in 2 World Cups, equaled by Clint Dempsey and yours truly eventually. Was the #1 pick in MLS's inaugural draft. And then I just read this one. I didn't realize this. 2-time Fulham Player of the Year? That's impressive. And then voted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame in 2014. Now the GM of your Brooklyn FC, Mr. Brian McBride. B, welcome. Good to see you.
Thanks, Landon. Good to see you guys.
B-Mac, good to see you. Listen, I remember being in high school. I mean, we played together on the national team, but I remember you playing for the Columbus Crew and me going to watch you like play against the Metro Stars. It's freaking crazy. And then you become teammates and go to World Cups, and yeah, it's awesome. We'll obviously played against each other in the Premier League. So crazy journey we had. It's great to have you on the show.
Yeah, pleasure, man. I'm glad I could be here. It's funny how these things now I tend to come across. I am just so freaking old.
It's funny how it happens, right?
True. Quick.
B, I didn't realize this. So you were a 2-time Fulham Player of the Year? Like one time I won Player of the Month at Everton, and I was like, I'm the man. You were Player of the Year
for
twice.
3 months. You couldn't be Player of the
I
Year.
know. That's true. I know, but that's incredible, man.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
incredible. What a
Yeah,
run.
appreciate it. No, it was that time at Fulham was really special.
Yeah, it was.
So B, let's start. We're going to touch on a bunch of things, including what you're doing now with Brooklyn. But you were the former national team GM, and we were just having a long discussion about Noahkai Banks, who is a dual national, and we're curious when you were in your seat, what was the strategy or the plan around dual nationals? How did you guys speak about it? Because right now with Noahkai Banks, he's hinted at, maybe I can play for Germany, maybe I can play for the US. What is that? Is there a recruitment process? How do you speak to the players? Because I think it's really fascinating for people to try to understand what's going on there.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, man. And it really starts in the youth. Tony Lepore, who leads up sort of the scouting and the talent side of things, he finds out about most of the Americans, either from agents or parents call him, and they start the process of really getting to know both the individual and the family. There are a few times where you get the late bloomers that come or we never found out they were Americans. And that process is a little bit different. It's a little bit more difficult because they're sort of set already where they were. So to try and get them to understand, and Florin Balogun's one of them, try and get them to understand who we are, how the process is, our overall environment is really important. I'll go back to the youth side. So the youth side, Tony sets out building these nice, good relationships. The family and the player will have conversations with each age group national team as they're going, and just to see, what we tried to do, or we tried, and I think they still do, is sort of present them their pathway. And we've ran into a few different times that the other national team is
Mhm.
promising something
Sure.
to these kids, and it turns out wrong because
Right.
you never know. And so that's the one thing that we used to do, and I'm sure they still do, is just provide the pathway and then help them, answer any questions, but never guarantee a player anything, as you guys know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so is that like are those conversations are you having those particularly with the agents, or are some of these kids well versed enough to have the conversations with you?
Yeah.
I know sometimes you're talking to like a teenager and they don't have any idea. So it's more, how does that work?
For the younger players, it's more family. It's like you get
Mhm.
on a call with the player and their family, and because you're exactly right, Tim. They're just happy to be there. They're like, "Oh, this is cool. I'm getting pulled here, I'm getting pulled there,"
yeah.
and the parents are all like, "All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Sure.
What's going on with how many camps do you do? Who's the head coach? What's the background? How's the team makeup?" And all those things sort of come to fruition. But when you get into the older, like I'll go back to Florian. I reached out to his agent and spoke to his agent 5 or 6 different times, trying to set up a phone call or a meeting with myself, him, and Greg, and it just never came about. Florian was still focused
Interesting.
on where his next step was, where
Mhm.
after he's leaving Arsenal, going to wherever he was going. That was our first conversation. And finally, when he got to Monaco and he's a little more settled, tried to have a few more conversations with the agent, and nothing. I never spoke to him, but thankfully, Greg got through to him in time. And but yeah, that process is unique, probably especially as they get older, because they've got to want to come.
Yeah,
And
of course.
sometimes
Yeah, that was
it's not even on their radar.
Mhm.
right. That was my next question. So, what do you do if, and obviously you don't have to specify names, but you have a kid who either, I'm not saying this is Flo, by the way, is not into it or it's not on their radar, and you're trying to convince them. And we've talked a lot on this show about just having pride in playing for your country. And now you're trying to convince a kid who it's not even on their radar to come play for. I mean, is that, you probably have your personal feelings, but then you're a employee of the federation. You have your job to do. Is that difficult?
Yeah, I mean it's not difficult. I think it's interesting because those conversations, and I think more so, Landon, it goes the opposite way when kids are interested in, or players are interested in us, and we're interested in them, but the other nation that they can play for is like really hard, and they're all over them. They grind it down to where finally they're like, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go in. And the youth side, those decisions are okay because they always come back.
You can change, right?
Yeah, it's
Right.
when they make that final decision, and I'm not going to name names, but there was 2 or 3 players that made those decisions when I was a GM,
Mhm.
and I felt really bad for them because they were
Mhm.
promised something and it never came to fruition.
Mhm. Interesting.
Yeah. I think and you can attest to this. We didn't have you had a few, right? When in your heyday with the national team, sort of before Landon and I, you had like Ernie maybe was Ernie a dual national?
He was, yeah.
He was.
David
Yeah,
Regie.
Regie,
Regie.
yeah.
Yep.
Trying to think who
Thomas
else.
Dooley, maybe? No.
Yep,
No,
Thomas
yeah.
played for Germany.
So not a ton, right? And so
Roy
it just
Wagerly.
Wagerly,
boy,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
I mean,
right.
but it's illustrating my point. Like
Yes.
the US is so it's so different. There's there's a few countries that can have dual nationals, but when you look at America, I mean, particularly with in the Jurgen Klinsmann era, I mean that just became his idea of how to build a team, was bringing as many dual nationals as possible. And so there is that push pull, and sort of where does the U.S. stand compared to their other country, and are they choosing the U.S. because they really see it as a pathway, or is it the easy way? And I say that with respect, by the way, because
Meaning they
we-
wouldn't be playing for that other nation.
correct, and we've
Yeah.
seen that, So,
Yeah.
I think the process that you undertake and is weeding some of that out is really difficult. Wow.
B, let's transition now to your new general manager role at Brooklyn FC. Congrats for the first win on the weekend. I know those, having been a part of San Diego Loyal in the first game, there's so much stuff flying on the men's side, the first win. What's it been like? What's that transition been like? How did you end up there? What was the process by which you ended up there?
It's a good question. So I'm the sporting director, so I oversee both the men's and women's. And then right now I'm the general manager of the men's team.
Got it.
How I ended up there was interesting. I got sort of a recruitment call as to see if I would be interested in a position like this. I wasn't doing anything at the time, and I'm like, all right, let's hear this out. Not fully understanding, the details, and the details matter. So as I think I went through 3 interviews, and all was pretty straightforward. Everybody's been on an interview. You go through what your plan is, what your thought process is, and then it's got to match up with the ownership. And quite honestly, when I started the process, I didn't really think that we'd end up sort of being in the same mindset. And that's not against them or anything, or I just didn't know what to expect. And as I went through those 3 interviews, and then they offered me the position, I got to really understand what they're talking about, and how much ability I would have to be able to create something, to build something that that Brooklyn can be proud of, that is going to last and really have a foundation where you can continue to grow and build. And that's been my experience. It's been a challenge. I can honestly say our infrastructure is in need of deeper and more people that are soccer people that understand the game. And yesterday was a great culmination of seeing pretty much all the owners were at the match, and you see the passion and the joy and what they really are getting out of this, and what they want Brooklyn FC to be. So it was almost like I got rejuvenated again, because we're nowhere near done.
Yep.
We still have a few roster slots open, but agents, please don't just keep
Good luck now.
Actually, I shouldn't say that, because they were great, because we don't have a scouting department. We don't. So it was literally Marlon and myself going through all the different videos and Scout and everything. And so agents, thank you. Put it on the radar, and right now we're really happy.
As it's interesting as being part of an ownership group. I think when you make hires like general managers, sporting directors, I think it's important to give autonomy to that position, and let you're hiring someone to do a job, let them do a job. But with that comes challenges. And so can you speak to us and our listeners about the challenges of running 2 teams? Because I think in America, right, that's unique. Well, it's unique to the extent, like in USL, I was a part of an ownership group that ran a baseball team and a soccer team, right? So there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of different ownership groups that own men's and women's teams. So sort of talk us through the challenges that you face, like on a daily, seasonal basis, where you're having to run 2 teams.
Yeah, it's a great question, Tim. And I really haven't gotten my hands really into the women's side of it, and that was sort of the plan, because we were putting all the infrastructure together on the men's. But it is, there's the biggest thing, of course, is always going to be budget, and making sure that you're aligned with the budget, and you're staying at budget or under. And one of the biggest issues we have here is housing. And so in USL, you provide housing, and
that's a great.
Brooklyn's not cheap. So give credit to the owners in understanding that, and we've got some flexibility here, but yes, the overall infrastructure and build out, that was one of those things that was sort of non-negotiable when they were offering me the job, and they were right aligned with it, and they knew we needed to have 2 assistants. They knew we need to have a high performance person. We need to have an analyst, and so that process has been sure busy and taxing, but I've had the support, and it's gone really well. And like I said, we still have more to do, but yeah, I'm happy.
That's awesome.
Good. Okay, let's transition back now so let's go down memory lane a bit. B. I just before we, I'm not blowing smoke here, but I learned so much from you, and I'm really grateful for the time we had together. It helped me grow a lot to see someone in your position who was professional, did their job every day, showed up and went to work. And for a young kid who's egotistical and brash and excited and all that, it's good to see someone who shows up and does their job. So, yeah, I'm curious your thoughts now as one of our best goal scorers and one of our best strikers ever. How do you view, and you almost had some time with Florian. How do you view the current crop of strikers? And it's sometimes it's hard for me to gauge because, they're playing in the championship or he's playing in Ligue 1, or, you have Brian White here, or Josh Sargent here. And it's hard to go back and think, okay, how did they compare to our time? But how do you view the current crop? And are you happy, with where we are as a national team vis-a-vis the striker position?
Yeah, no, I think, a couple of years ago, it would have been, I think there was more question marks. We had injuries, we had lack of form, and we didn't have everybody playing a lot. And so I think we have more of that now, and that's an exciting part. I think the talent's there, certainly. And I said this, I think, Florian's got a lot of really good qualities. And he's also a player that brings other players in, which is a great attribute to have, especially when you have midfielders that are going to make the penalty area. And so that type of vision, Ricardo Pepi he's a goal scorer. He's improved with his hold up play, but his best attributes in the penalty area. He's got great movement, I think, and he's a really good finisher of the ball. I said this before too. Sometimes it hurts you when you play really well coming off the bench. And so, but it's a good problem to have. And I think the biggest concern I have, guys, is, and you guys know this, the best teams are teams that'll fight for each other, that feel like family, that can trust everybody that's on the field with you. And I'm not saying they don't have that, saying they haven't had the whole group together a lot. So it's that type of chemistry building is going to be really important in that 3 weeks before the World Cup. And can they get there? Yeah, they can, but it's a little more challenging because the group has been so mixed in and mixed out.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's I think I like our striker crop. I do, and I think that particularly this season, they all seem to be getting goals on the club level. I think the question mark going into the World Cup for me has been, and I'm probably doing a disservice to a few strikers who have come before you guys, but yourself and Josie and Clinton Landon, who are hybrid strikers, they did it in big games, and we always sort of knew this striker will carry us on our worst day. You, Brian, Landon, Clint, Josie at times would be able to carry us, and that's a big burden for a strike. That's not just coming in and playing well. That's a big burden. And I wonder, that's sort of the question mark. Do I like our striker crop? I do. But that for me is the question mark. And then just to sort of drill a bit deeper into what you talked about, you've been around the team. Landon and I, we know people on the inside. We're fans. We're analysts. We can analyze it on the outside. But does this team, in your opinion, have enough dogs, have enough leadership? Like we saw it a little bit with Chris Richards. Now, I've been a fan of his, but now I'm even more of a fan because I just think he's one of the guys who has some of that oomph, right? And Christian, as a captain, needs more leaders around him. Every captain needs leaders around him. So I'm just sort of curious, you having been on the inside, does this team possess that?
Yeah, I do. I think you're right in the fact that Chris Richards is going to be a big part. I think he's got to be the backbone of what how we start games, how opponents not necessarily fear, but they don't feel comfortable on the field. And he's doing it in big games in the EPL. And with Gahey gone now, his role has become even larger, which I think is going to help us. But yeah, I've said this before too, but I think Weston, you go to battle with Weston.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
He's someone you can trust anytime on the field, especially in big games. And hopefully, I say this nicely, hopefully someone kicks him early on, gets him fired up. Yeah, I think there are players in there that can provide that. Diego Luna, he doesn't shy away from anything. And but how Pochettino puts it all together, that'll be interesting. But I think there is, if you're going into a game and you need a little bit of bite, I think we have some.
Yeah, good, great.
You were part of 98, 02, and 06, right? So can you just walk us through what made the 02 team special, and now the men's team that has gone the furthest in history of our country, and then why that was different from 98 and 06, and I'm leading you into that too, then to talk about this summer too. So what made that group special from your perspective?
Part of this, this, you could answer this question. I think for me, the biggest difference is we had every player, every 24 players, all 24 players focused on the same thing.
Yeah.
There wasn't anybody being pulled like, okay, I got to play well here so I get my move after this World Cup. There wasn't anybody that was over here thinking, I'm not starting. Everybody was focused on doing well and doing it together. And Bruce, I mean, you know this, and Tim, you know this. Bruce is great at making sure that everybody feels valued. He if he talks to you, you did something wrong. If he just goes, good job,
then you're doing amazing.
You're doing great. So,
Right.
But all in all, I think it was a family atmosphere. I think everybody, was focused on trying to be the best team we could be.
And the way I describe it is there was this group of and I want to then move it forward to this summer. There was a group of guys, you were one of them, who were in their mid-20s to early 30s, who were real pros. I mean, like, you guys showed up, you were inspiring to the rest of us. And the Claudios and Eddies and Ernie and Kobe and Agus and Pope and Tony Sane and the goalkeepers and all this. And then you had a couple young punks, me and Bees, and Clint, like a little brash and young. Johnny O'Brien, still kind of green and young, who had some, flair and energy, whatever. But the core of the team was this group of just real pros who could just do a job on the day. Frankie Haydock, another one. And I think that mix was really good. And when you're putting together a roster, which you've done many times and now you're doing again, that feels like it's important. And so the question is, for this summer, I guess I want to just pick your brain philosophically. Now I believe there'll be 26 roster spots. I think that's what they're going to lean on, right?
I haven't heard. Yeah,
okay.
I don't know if they're going
and
back.
So how do you put that, if you're a GM, how do you put that together? Obviously, the coach has the majority of the say, but how do you build your team in that way? Because a lot of people will go, well, that's the most talented player, and that's the most talented, and he should be on. But it doesn't work that way, right? If you really want to be successful.
It doesn't, especially in a situation like a World Cup, because you look at your group, let's say it is 26. Are you going to use more than 20, 22 at the most, right?
That would probably be a lot.
Yeah, that would be a lot, right? You want to have game changers or, players that provide something different than your starter or that way. But the off the field stuff is almost as important, because you're together for almost a month and a half before you even find out if you're going in the knockout stages. And you need guys that are great leaders, that are glue guys. Like, if coach is missing somebody that's sort of down or not really, feeling at their best, you need a player to be able to pull them in and say, "Hey, we got you. We're, you're part of this. We need you to be here." It can't always be the coach or the manager or somebody that isn't around them all the time. So, yeah, I mean, when you're building that, there's at least two players you're bringing along that provide stability and advice and leadership. That's how I would do it, at least.
Yeah. In 2006, I was a glue guy because I didn't get my butt off the bench. But it's interesting
You're
that
glued to the bench.
I was glued to the bench. But I had it was a great tournament for me because I got to experience it as my first. There's three things that stand out for me about 06, which again we failed, right, in terms of not getting out of the group. I remember the first game when we trained all week, match up with Jan Kohler, get inside his shirt, and then inside the first 5 minutes, dunk at the near post. That's the first thing that stood out.
Yes.
The third thing that stood out was Clint Dempsey scoring his first goal in against Ghana. And then the Daniela De Rossi elbow. A lot of our fans want to know, has he ever apologized to you? And if so, he should.
He did, Tim. And not only that, actually, Landon was right next to me when he came in and apologized. We were doing some recovery and whatever. It was just us two in the locker room. And he walked through the door, and I've never seen a grown man more sheepish. He was like, and he didn't speak English. So, his coach had to tell him, or someone over there had to tell him, "I'm sorry." Right. Yeah. So he just goes, "I am sorry." Okay, no problem.
That's all he needed.
That was it. Some of this generation doesn't think the world existed before the day they were born. So for those of you listening who that's the case, if you have not seen, go back and just YouTube the 06 elbow to Brian McBride and what he looked like. And I will just say, it brought back memories of that game when Diego Luna got hit in that friendly and his nose is broken and bleeding and shattered. And a lot of people now would say, that's a friendly, I'm going to come out of the game and it doesn't mean anything, but it meant everything to him. Of course, you were in a World Cup game, so it was different for you, but I can remember so many times you getting just battered and beaten, your eyeball blown up, your forehead swollen and whatever, but you just got on with it. And that was as bad as that tournament was for the team. That was such a memorable game. Do you remember the national anthem for that game? Do you guys remember that? I will never forget it because the Air Force or whatever no. The military base or whatever was nearby there. Yep. So it was in Kaiserslautern, right. And there were like 20,000 military members there. So the national anthem, like crazy goosebumps because they were all singing it so loud. And it was so amazing. B, this has been amazing. Wishing you the very best. I mean, now this podcast has allowed us to reach out and reconnect and talk to different people. And then we have new alliances, like my old coaches at AC Boise. So I'm following them. Now you're at Brooklyn FC. We're all following intently, watching the games. You're on my favorites on FOTMob now. So we're just wishing you the very best, man. It's been really fun and really excited to get out to a game at Brooklyn FC. Yeah. So thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Love to have you. Both of you guys, everybody there at the podcast, let us know. And great to see you, Landon and Tim.
Yeah, man.
Talking with you and keep up the great work.
We appreciate it. Thanks for the time. We'll be out representing Brooklyn FC for sure.
Awesome.
It's Stoppage Time, sponsored by FanDuel. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, new customers can score up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days from bets that don't win. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started. All right, Champions League round of 16 this week, and we got a juicy matchup. Real Madrid hosting Manchester City. Love this matchup. I think lots of goals in this one. This is going to be a little bit of a throwback to the 2000s, 2010s when Champions League games were back and forth and action and scoring. So a lot of goals in this one. I think in the end it'll be a draw. Probably a 2-2 draw sounds about right to me. Erling Haaland will, of course, score. He's back in form and back healthy, so I think he scores a goal. Definitely going over the 2.5 goals. And I believe a goal will be scored in both halves. Should be a really exciting game. I think everyone's going to love this one. So again, we have a draw, Erling Haaland to score, over 2.5 goals, and a goal scored in both halves. Don't forget to check out the full list of Unfiltered Soccer's same-game parlays on our socials later this week. All right, let's take a break. When we get back, we will get into your questions in the AT&T Fan Connection right here on Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, presented by Volkswagen.
This episode is brought to you by Airbnb.
Yeah, Tim, soccer's back in this country this summer and in a big, big way. And along with it comes all of these amazing away fans who provide the energy and excitement around the game that we love.
That's exactly right. Hosting your home on Airbnb provides visiting sports fans, number one, the ability to stay close to the event and the action, but also experience the city. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host. LD, things are about to get really hectic. End of the Premier League season. Summer soccer tournament coming up. It is just like all soccer all the time, tons of travel. I feel like now is a time where it's important to relax and choose chill.
Yeah, this might not make sense, but for me, choosing chill, I talk to my wife about this all the time, is not like sitting on the couch. For me, choosing chill is actually choosing chill by going to play hockey, which is cold and freezing and like exerting a lot of energy. But by the end, it's so relaxing. It feels so good. It's a connection to my Canadian roots, to my dad. I love it. And that's when I choose chill.
Choose chill and then reach for a Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/UFS, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer.
Yes, sir. As always, celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Beer.
There's nothing better than feeling like someone has your back and that things are going to get done even without you having to ask. Like your crisp new jersey waiting for you in the locker room or a perfectly set up wall for a free kick.
Yeah, as we on Unfiltered Soccer get ready for next summer, we know that very little in the beautiful game is guaranteed. But as we prepare to bring our unfiltered brand of nonstop soccer coverage, it's good to know AT&T has your back with the AT&T Guarantee.
Staying connected matters. That's why in the rare event of a network outage, AT&T will proactively credit you for a full day of service. That's the AT&T Guarantee.
Learn more at att.com/guarantee. AT&T, connecting changes everything.
Credit for fiber downtime lasting 20 minutes or more, or a wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers. Must be connected to impacted towers at onset of outage. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for full details. It's time for the Fan Connection presented by AT&T. Every week we invite you, the listener, to connect with us by submitting your questions. At AT&T, connecting changes everything. And on USMNT, our connections with you will help grow the game. Welcome into the AT&T Fan Connection. How are you, Jordan? What's happening?
I'm
Jordan.
spectacular. How are
Are
you
you?
guys?
Yeah.
Great.
Feeling good.
Spring has sprung here in our neck of the woods.
Yes.
Jordan?
Oh,
It's
I have
always
the
spring
window
where-
open. I'm letting the fresh air come in. I feel like a whole new woman. It's
the cold is
amazing.
done now, right? For good.
Eh,
'Cause
Nah.
I'm coming next
March,
week.
April, we could get a snowstorm, mate.
No.
Yeah.
100%.
Really?
Could.
Yeah.
We could. Yeah.
Shoot. Let's
sure.
hold
You know
off
what?
on
In fact,
that
do you
for a
want
few weeks.
me and Tim to order ours because we could order it? That would
No,
be-
thank you. No, keep it just like that.
LD, you know why
Okay.
I love spring in New York? Because
Why?
I don't ride. I ride bikes everywhere, everywhere,
know.
and it's too cold. It's too cold, and with the snow and the ice, so I have to take a car everywhere. Now I just bike.
Do you have a bike or do you use those bikes that they have?
both?
In the
I
city?
prefer the city bike. I prefer to use the city bike, the electric
It's
one.
kind of nice, isn't it?
It's great. There's
Yeah,
one right
it's really
outside my
nice.
apartment, and so yeah, it's amazing.
That's great. Be careful.
Can we
though,
talk
huh?
about?
Drivers are
No,
crazy.
I know.
All right, go ahead, Jordan.
for sure.
Can we talk about? I'm wearing my Brooklyn FC
Yeah, you
sweatshirt
are.
since you guys
Yes,
were just
you are.
talking to Brian
Brian.
McBride, but also there is a Portland Hearts of Pine scarf behind
All right.
me because the lovely people at the Portland Hearts of Pine sent a big bag of stuff for the production team. So everybody on the production team got a hoodie,
That's
and I
dope.
kept a scarf. And so yeah, so thanks.
They
Portland
know
Hearts
where
of
their
Pine.
bread gets buttered.
Crooklyn
That's
FC. You know what I think you should
Mhm.
do, Jordan? I think you need to invest. I think you need to invest in a USL team. You're very dialed into USL.
Yeah, you are.
You need to invest.
Okay, which one should I invest in? Do you think
I think you
the
need to
Long
be-
Island Rough Riders?
Oh, that's old school. I used to play against Long Island Rough Riders. No, I'm just saying. Honestly, I think.
Do they
there's
have a team now?
They still
still a
do.
team.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know. I think
Uniondale,
like
I think they play.
like a small investment into a club, and we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, but then
well.
she likes to support everyone.
I know,
And
I
she'd
know,
be
I
all
know.
in on one. I
I know.
disagree actually.
All right.
Okay.
Just
Well,
Be a mercenary.
if you are listening or watching this podcast,
And you want to
let me
send
know
me
if you
free
think.
stuff?
Well, let me know if you think I should invest in a USL club. I would love
That's
to
And
know
which
what
one
people
and
think.
why?
Yeah.
And
Yes,
how much,
which one and
what,
why?
What
Yes,
percentage
definitely.
will you give her?
And are you
sweat
giving a
equity?
discount? Is
Yeah.
Jordan getting a USL discount on the purchase?
There you go.
I definitely need free merch, obviously. Okay, let's get into some questions.
All right.
This first one is from Isaac via email. And Isaac says, the guys have mentioned several times that MLS is not a good offensive league, but a bad defensive league. It seems this is because clubs would rather spend their money on attacking players than defensive players. Do you agree? What would happen if a club spent their big money on a star-studded defense, whether that is backline, defensive midfielder, goalie, or all three? Do you think an MLS club like this could be a perennial contender? It's a good phrase.
Yes. Ike, listen, for all of those reasons, and Landon's going to have his own comments. He's going to agree with mine for sure. Defensively, the league is so poor. And the way that the league was set up, by nature of the David Beckham rule, which turned into the DP rule and all the rest of it, the idea was to spend money on something that was flashy, to sell tickets. Yes? This is prior to like us having this amazing league and educated fans and stadiums and all that, right? So it was to get butts in seats, which may be still the way. I think the way to get butts in seats is to put a good product on the field, personally. And so by nature of the rule, and we can probably go we'll do a list at some point on social media, like from its inception, it's striker 10, striker 10, striker 10. That's who you bring in. Maybe a tricky winger. You're not bringing in a goalkeeper. You're not bringing in a center back. You're not bringing in a defensive number 6, a Rodri, to be a stalwart. You just aren't doing it because fans in MLS are clamoring for a big name. So that's sort of, and the tide hasn't turned. And if you look around the world, Man City's spending as much money on their defenders as they're spending on their attackers. Like, that's normal, but we don't do that.
Completely agree. And, when we talk to sporting directors or GMs or people who are, run the cap for MLS teams, they'll say the same thing. They'll be like, well, we can basically spend, like, I'm making this up, $200,000 to $300,000 on a left back and $400,000 to $500,000 on a defense. And they've got these like charts and these structured, like what you spent on. And I'm like, this is a bunch of BS. Like, throw that out the window. What's going to help you win? To Tim's point, the league used to need, and I mean need, these stars and these exciting players and whatever. Most of these teams are selling out every week. Like when you look around, they're selling out every week. And it's because they're a good part of the community or they put on entertainment or good product, but these teams are selling out. So majority don't need that anymore. And honestly, if it were me and I were running a team, maybe not my first, but I would put so much emphasis on a physical, athletic center back who can deal with bad moments and put out fires. I mean, the Galaxy won one MLS Cup with this kid Garces having the game of his life last year. I mean, he was everywhere, all over the field. And he's, he has his flaws. Yeah. Doesn't play all the time, but that would be my number one priority. And the rest of it's going to come. Like, you're going to find good attacking players. The teams do a great job of finding that. There's tons of talent. South America, they're finding tons of talent. But Tim's right. I mean, the defending in this league is just shocking.
Woeful. It's woeful.
Do you think if one team did it, it would change
the league? Yes, if they were successful, for sure. For sure. And it will. I mean, sorry. Eventually, teams want to win. The owners are going to look and, they're not as educated, and they'll go, wait, why are they winning? Why is this happening? You have to be really successful. But like Man City, to Tim's point, Man City changed the game with like Kyle Walker, Stones. They've spent a ton of money on Josko Gvardiol. Like, these are guys that can deal with, look at Virgil van Dijk. He changed Liverpool. They're now, they've been a dominant force for 5, 7, 8 years because they have a center back who can deal with all that. Yeah. So.
I'm glad you said it and I didn't have to, LD.
Yeah, whatever.
Still suck. Landon, I noticed that there's a sign behind you, behind your head right now that says "Happy Birthday, Dad."
Yeah, let's go.
Nice.
Okay, so
can I read what my kid said real quick?
Sure.
It's very fast. Dear Dad, We want to say thank you for all the work you do. We are really grateful for how hard you work for our family. Even though sometimes we are mean towards you, we want you to know that we still are grateful for the work that you do, and we want to say we love you.
Hashtag privileged kids.
Even though we're mean to you. They are mean to me sometimes.
They're
aren't they?
amazing.
You
Your
hurt
kids
my
are
feelings,
amazing.
bro. I know. All right, continue.
Your kids and I have that in common, even though I am also sometimes mean to you. I appreciate you. Okay, here we go. I'm going to, there's a reason why I brought attention to that sign. This email is from Salvador via email. And he says, my question is to LD and Tim, since they're both fathers. My wife and I are expecting our first baby. Got any advice for a first-time father? P.S. It's a boy. Really wanted to name him Landon, either as a first name or a middle name, but my wife said no.
First of all,
Where's he from?
I don't know. He didn't say.
Interesting.
First off, my condolences. Your life's about to get miserable. It will eventually get good, but probably 2 to 3 years, Salvador, and it's miserable. All right. What are thoughts on being a father? There are amazing moments. It's really hard if you decide to be heavily involved in your kid's life, but it's worth it. So my advice would be involved. Don't be their friend. It's okay not to be their friend. You're their parent, not their friend. But my learning in all of my fathering is I'm on one end of the spectrum where I'm probably too strict, too much like worried about the future and how they're going to be. And it's okay to still like have fun. And so I'm trying to meet them in the middle somewhere. Yeah.
My parenting advice is along the lines of soccer. So be a good husband. Tell your wife she can sleep in. And you take the baby and get up and watch Premier League every Saturday and Sunday morning. You'll get brownie points.
That's
Get a
so true.
scarf. Get a little ball and a jersey. Create a Premier League fan and a bond with you and your son. I don't know where you are. That's why I asked where you live. Go buy tickets or a ticket package to your local MLS team if there's one nearby. Sort of start those traditions early because they last a lifetime and they create a father-son bond that is really special around the game of soccer.
And Salvador, if you send NBC and Tim a picture of that, they'll put you on my Premier League mornings.
Yeah, we'll put you up
That's
on Premier
right.
League mornings
There you
in your kit. So I don't
Then
know
you'll
who you
get
support.
extra points from the wifey.
extra points.
I don't know this for sure, but I can almost guarantee that Everton sells a onesie for an infant. So make sure
Yeah.
you're
It's a good team to support.
Salvador.
Good team.
People's
support.
Club.
And please take advice from the people who work on the show. Don't ever refer to watching your own children as babysitting, please. Salvador, don't do that.
No, it's
Otherwise
daddy
people
daycare.
Just
It's daddy daycare.
make
Definitely
fun of you.
baby.
If dad has to spend time or watch the kids, it's daddy daycare. That's just
babysitting.
how it is. Universally. It's how it goes. We're looking for help everywhere we can. Moms are amazing. Moms are amazing. It's crazy.
It's true.
Let's try a new rule. This one's really chaotic, so I'm really looking forward to. Okay. This one's from Steven via email. Steven sent in a soccer rule change proposal, a multi-ball system introduced during stoppage time in a 0-0 match to increase excitement. Matches can still end in a draw, but you have to survive the multi-ball chaos.
What happens? There's more than one ball on the field?
Are there
Yes.
two or like
No.
multiple?
That's like
That's
awesome.
awesome.
That's like dodgeball.
That was all he wrote.
Tim, I don't know if teams do this anymore. Do you remember training sessions where you'd have multiple goals on each side? So you'd have like 4 goals, 2 on one side and 2 on the other, and there'd be multiple.
Do I remember? Of course, I got peppered.
So you'd have 2 balls on the field.
Yeah.
So you're like trying to score over here, but you got to defend that side, and then you might have to defend the other side and attack on the other side. And it is so chaotic. I have no idea why.
Is the
It's probably good
purpose
for your
of that?
brain.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like
I think
just
it's
to
just
be on head on a
awareness.
swivel.
Yeah.
awareness.
Open your
It's
body.
actually, to be fair, it's not the worst. I mean, it has nothing to do with how you play or your game model or anything, but it was fun.
I have a feeling there's a rule change coming in. I don't know how much how much of it you're clued into, LD, but someone it's idiotic, but I'm just gonna say it. Someone came up with this. Arsenal, have you seen this? With Arsenal's time wasting? Have you seen any of this or no? So
I've heard it,
basically every time Arsenal take a free kick. They're taking really long to take free kicks, and over the course of the season, someone came up with this big stat, which sounds really mean and terrible that they've wasted X amount of hours or whatever. But I have a feeling that that's coming. I have a
There's
feeling
gonna be
that
a rule. Yeah.
I have a feeling there's going to be a rule, which
Like a
by the way
time
I don't.
clock.
Which I think so. Which by the way I don't care. I don't care. Arsenal doesn't waste no one cared about that until this
Till they're
study
winning.
came out.
Yeah.
It was like when the Premier League added. Remember when the Premier League 2 seasons ago added extra time? They added more time.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of each half, and it was like 12 minutes of stoppage time.
In the World Cup,
And-
they did it too.
Yeah, and there was a survey that went around, which is bullshit. A survey that they surveyed fans, and they said, "We want more extra time, but we want more time." I'm like, no one's ever walked away from a football match and gone, "Oh, I wish it was 5 more minutes." No, they enjoyed the match.
Right.
That was right. And so no one up until that report came out, no one was clamoring for, "Hey, Arsenal are wasting all this time." No one thought of it. Literally, no one thought of it.
Right.
So according to the internet,
Yeah.
in their match against Brighton on March 4th, they wasted 30 minutes and 51 seconds. I'm sorry. In a game that's only 90 minutes long, that's insane.
Wait, what do you mean they waste? How did
Exactly.
they waste 30
Exactly.
minutes? How do you define what's
Arsenal
the
took a
normal
total
time
of
and what's-
30 minutes and 51 seconds to restart play.
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes
Yeah,
in
but
order to
Jordan,
restart
a
play.
normal match, I bet that number is like 25 or 27 minutes.
They don't tell you that. They don't give you that. Because by the
Right?
way,
Like, because every
That
time the
seems
ball
really
goes out,
high.
it's 15 seconds,
okay,
30 seconds.
okay, on average, Jordan, in a 45-minute half of football, do you know how long the ball is out
The
of
ball's
play?
yeah,
I have no idea.
22 minutes.
there you go.
What?
The ball is
Yeah.
out of play or stopped for 22
Yeah,
minutes.
that's the reality.
That's
You don't think of it that way, but think about how often the ball goes out for a goal kick, corner, throw in,
Foul.
penalty, foul,
Sub.
etc. Yeah.
That's insane.
It's insane.
Take a
But so-
stopwatch and do
All
it.
of life is an illusion.
My
Everything's
dad used
fake.
to do this. My dad would send me a text. He'd be like, "The NFL is such a joke." He goes, "I took a stopwatch and watched a game, and the ball is actually in play for like whatever 6 minutes, and it takes 3.5 hours." And I'm
true.
like, "Dad, it's just part of the game, dude. Chill out."
It's true.
It
It's crazy.
just is what it
That's
is.
crazy. The NFL's crazy.
It's true.
In a couple of weeks, I'm going to do this. I
You
don't know
should
which
do it.
game I'm going to
Come
do
back
it
and
for,
give us
but
your data.
I will give you data because
Do a
this
normal
is
game
absolutely
and do an Arsenal game, and let's see how they compare.
a normal game and an Arsenal game.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Liverpool's playing Spurs at the weekend, so maybe we'll do
They
a
are.
Spurs game and an Arsenal
Oh.
game.
I'm
So
worried
there
about
we
I'm
go.
worried about Spurs this weekend, by the way.
We can't talk about this because there are too many Spurs fans who work on this show, and I don't
I
want
know.
anybody
Just
crying.
saying. I'm just saying they're not. It's at Anfield, isn't it?
It is, yes.
They're not
I
going to
think
Anfield to win. And win
It
They're
is,
not.
right? Somebody
No chance.
nod,
No
right?
chance.
Is it
I think it's
Anfield?
at Anfield.
it
I
is,
think-
yeah.
Believe
Anyway.
so, yeah.
They're not going to Anfield to win.
They're shrugging like we don't care. It doesn't matter anymore.
They do. They care. They care a lot. We know who you are.
Well, if you care about Liverpool versus Spurs or really anything that you would like to tell me about, you can email me at feedback@unfilteredsoccer.com. So there
Amazing.
you go.
That went so
Thanks,
left.
guys.
Thanks,
Jordan,
Jordan.
you're always on brand. Great job. All right, amazing show. Thank you to our former teammate Brian McBride. I just want to tell a quick anecdote. I told him off air, but there was a game, Tim. We were playing Cuba in the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
I had not scored, I think, in 6 or 7 games for the national team, and it was really weighing on me. Like I was struggling. He got played through in the first half. We are literally going on a 2-on-0. You guys can Google this. 2-on-0. He could have taken a touch. He was on the left side. He could have taken a touch inside, and he scores 9 out of 10 times. He rolled it across the goal mouth to me to a wide open tap in goal. And you know how it is. You don't want your other forward to succeed all the time.
Sure.
He made the right play in the right moment. I ended up scoring 4 goals that game and went on like a tear forever because I got that tap in. And I'm so grateful. He was such a great competitor, great teammate. Love you, B. Thanks for coming on. That was amazing. Thank you guys for being with us as always. Please, please, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your pods. Follow us at Unfiltered Soccer on social media for bonus content. Thank you as always to Volkswagen, our presenting sponsor, our Fan Connection sponsor, AT&T, and our Stoppage Time sponsor, FanDuel.
Yeah, huge shout out to B. Mac, Brian McBride, Fulham legend, U.S. men's national team legend, friend and teammate. He's a dog, man. He's an absolute warrior. I mean, you talk about being in the tunnel with someone, knowing he's going to give it all, I mean, absolutely incredible, and some real good reflections today. So thanks, Brian. Thanks also to our Unfiltered Refresh sponsor, Coors Light, and our additional sponsors, Airbnb and Walmart. Have an amazing week. We'll be back next Tuesday with another edition of Unfiltered Soccer.